Hello and welcome to Daily Records. I am Tommy Burton, and today we are going to be talking about Mr. Frank Zappa and the Mothers of Invention and the album One Size Fits All. Quite possibly one of my very favorite Frank Zappa releases, released on June 25th, 1975. This was the 10th and final studio album from the band called the Mothers of Invention. So he dropped the Mothers of Invention moniker by that point. This was the summer-fall 1974 lineup of the Mothers of Invention. This band featured George Duke, Chester Thompson, Ruth Underwood, Tom Fowler, and Napoleon Murphy Brock. One of the tracks on here features the bass player, Birdlegs Human, who stood in for Tom Fowler when the bassist broke his hand while out on tour. So this is the reissue that came out recently, mastered by Chris Bellman with Bernie Grunman. So one of the only of the Frank Zappa reissues that I have in my collection. I just never could find a good clean copy of this in original for a decent price. The album opens up with one of the most interesting tracks and difficult and complex tracks that Zappa ever did, Inca Roads. There is just an interesting track concerning outer space and UFOs. One of Zappa's heroes, Johnny Guitar Watson, he has two tracks that he's featured on here. He does the vocals on San Bernardino, a great sort of rock and roll number, and Andy. Captain Beefheart also appears on this album under a pseudonym. Frank Zappa said in the liner notes for One Size Fits All that the album was recorded simultaneously with their next album, and it would be, but the next album ended up being Bongo Fury, which was a lot of live tracks recorded with Captain Beefheart in 1975. There's a lot of speculation about it based on interviews from some of the songs there, but no one's really sure because it never quite came to be that way. Of course, Zappa was always recording all the time. It's come out a few times, so it's a jazz rock type album. A lot of jazzy music on here. Some of the extended stuff. It's a really beautiful sounding album. Really, really solid. Sofa People, Pajama People is on here. Florentine Poggian. Of course, I mentioned San Bernardino. Sofa number 1 and Sofa number 2. A couple of the tracks from this. All together, this is a really good unified album from Frank. And Frank's music can be real hit or miss, I think. And that's the problem. A lot of people kind of get lost in some of the details with Frank because they're not sure where to start. They're not sure what they're going to like. I mean, the early stuff was kind of out there and really, really pushing the envelope. The later stuff was kind of blue. A lot of people acknowledge Frank's compositional brilliance and some of his guitar playing, but not sure about lyrically some of the stuff. I think this album brings everything together really nicely. It's not too jazzy. It's not too hard rock. It's not too silly. So it holds together nicely. It makes for a really, really solid listen, which is probably why it's one of my favorites. And I think you will enjoy it too if you're slightly interested in Frank Zappa music. This is a decent place to start. I don't think you can get too offended by the lyrics. I mean, it's got some humor on it, obviously. A song like Pajama People. But it's also got a lot of that complex musicality like Inca Roads. And then just some straight up good rock music, in my opinion. San Bernardino. just a fun song, great rock and roll number. So today's daily record, One Size Fits All by Frank Zappa and the Mothers of Invention. Like, comment, subscribe, share, follow me on Instagram and Twitter. It's Tommy Burton75. In the meantime, I will see you all again tomorrow with another daily record.